Alright, hello YouTube, welcome back into A Programmer Plays Master Key. This time we're doing something a little different. Master Key, the game, comes with this little puzzle mode. These are called Nonograms. We have now expanded my understanding of them. Okay. Alright, we can move a cursor around. What? Alright, 0, 0, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So does that mean that these are filled and these can't be? And so these need to be filled. I think I'm running off of the assumption that this is like Minesweeper. So if that is... Okay, so there's two continuous ones, so this can't be one of them. And this can't be one of them. Same situation with this. And that in turn tells us that this can't be two in a row, nor over here. So I'm going to mark that as an X and that as an X, which means that this has to be that way. And so that means that these have to be like this. And so this has to be X's, which means that this has to be like that. Okay. And stuff's highlighting, which makes me feel like, alright, we're locking in. This has to be like this. And this has to be like this. So this has to be off, this has to be off. This has to be like that. This has to be on, this has to be on, this has to be on, and this has to be on. We got it. We figured it out, boys. Cool. Alright, I'm on board. I made a little face. Alright, we'll just do this for a little bit. Holy shit. One, two, three, 4, 5. Alright, so this is... Alright, so this has got 10 and 2, or more correctly 2 and 10. So 1, 2, space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we can reasonably assume that the middle has to be filled in. Like, this has to be. Which means that we can X this stuff out, because they're all marked as 2. we can reasonably X that out because we know that we need to have 2 on one side or the other. So if we did 1, 2, blank, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we can reasonably assume that this, like that, and that. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we know that these two have to be like that. That has to be like that. Okay, so that actually, so this tells us this one, which actually gives us a huge amount of information. Because that now means that this has to be on this side and can't be over here. And in turn, that also tells us that this can't be here and this can't be here. Also, we know that this has to be over here because we've got a 4. And there's not room down here for a 4, and we had to have one at the top. So, Xing all this out. Bare minimum, we've got to have that. And these are 2s, so we got to fill that in. This 8 doesn't tell us everything, but does tell us a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is this 8 wide? Yeah, it's 8 wide. I should have started with this. Alright, that actually tells us that this can't be here, this can't be here. This has to be here, which means that this is unusable. Doesn't help us on this front. We don't know if you can have multiple spaces, actually. That's interesting. That does hurt us. But this, we know that it's going to not be on any of these. Which means that this could be here or here. These have to be down here. And that in turn tells us that that has to be like that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great. So these have to be turned off here, which we pretty much knew. These have to be on here. This one has to be solid, so that's our 6 right there. Which means that we know that this one can't be here or here, because it has to be one of these two. This one has to be here. Which means that this has to be on here in order to fulfill the 4. This one has to be off. This one has to be off. There we go. Oh, it's a key. Nice. Cool. These are fun. Alright, do I have any that completely span the whole length? We got a 7 and a 2. How many spots is this? 5 and 5. So 1, 2, space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Space 1, 2. There we go. All right, that gives us a start. That also tells us on this one it can't be here, here, or here, 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 because it has to line up to that. 1, 2, 3, 4. We know that this one can't be here because then it wouldn't connect to that one, which means that we know that from here that it can't be over here. And it's gonna have to be one of these two. Which means that we know that those two are locked in. Great. We could obliquely know that that's not in there, but we'll leave that be. We know that have to have one here, have to have one here, because otherwise there wouldn't be space. We can infer that there's not one here, which gives us this one, which means that we know that it's this one. We know that this can't be here because there's just not space. Which then in turn means we know that this one is here. So because of this, we know that that's there, 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 and there. That's locked in, which means that we know that this is here. Great. We know that this has to be filled in like that. That's our 3 for this one, so this has to be off, this has to be on, this has to be on, this has to be continuous, so that's 4. So we know that this has to be here. It has to be 4 going vertically, so we'll fill that in. And there has to be a space between these two. And that gives us these two locked in. This has to be here because of that. We know that that can't be there, so this has to be filled in here. That completes this side. Has to be here. Nice. Oh, it's the money bag. Cool. I'm starting to feel my voice go. Sweet Jesus. Alright. 5, 10, 14 wide. This is 12, so we know that this has to be at least that much. And these are 12. Are we 12 tall? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2. Yeah. Alright, so we know that all this is filled. This is a situation where I wish I was on a DS, you know, like filling in the lines. We know that this one has to all be on. Alright, this is 11, so we can reasonably fill in all of that. This is set to 12, so we know that at least this much has to be filled in. Same thing here. This is set to 14 wide. I don't know why I didn't start with the 14s. This is really filled in one. Alright, we know that this has to be blank, because otherwise, do we actually know that? Hold on. We don't know that. No, we do know that. Regardless, though, we know that these have to be filled in, because it's just one block. This one, we can assume that more of it's blocked in, but I don't feel like doing the counting right now. We know that this has to be filled in, because it's a continuous 10. Which means that we know that this can't be on, because that's 5. Which means we know that this can't be on. We don't know which of these two is part of the 2. We know that this has to be on, because even if the line was all the way over to the left, which I don't think it is, based on just pattern recognition. Right, we know that this can't be here, which does mean that we now know that this is the bottom of that, which means that we know that this is filled in. That gives us that. These has to be filled in, this has to be filled in, this has to be filled in, that has to be turned off. which does shut off these from there. Same story here. 5. There's our 5 there, and our 3, 3, 5. There's our 4s. That's a 5 filled out. This is 11, so that has to be filled in. This has to be filled in because that gives us our 6. This has to not be there because of 6, which means that this has to be filled in. In order to give us our 2, that has to be filled in. I feel like I've done this, like, I've made this harder than it needs to be. We know that those have to be filled in. It's 9, and it can't be up there. This is a 6, and we've already got 6 filled in, so we know that it can't be there. This has to be like that because it's a 12. This is a 10, so these have to be filled out. This is a 10, so it can't be there. There we go. Ah, it's a slime. I feel like I did that. Like I made that harder on myself than I should have, but whatever, it's fine. Ooh boy. Okay. This one's trickier. This is definitely a step up in difficulty because we don't have any that are like completely fill their row. He says, and then realizes he's wrong. This one has 4, and then blank, and then 5, and then blank, and then 4. So that's a pretty definitive, we have to have that. Which then means, because this one is set to 4, this has to be blank, and then these all have to be blank. Similarly over here, we know that those have to be blank because then they wouldn't be continuous. How does that help us? Not very much. We got a 6 and a 5 here. 2, 3, 5, 6, space, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got 2 points of wiggle room in here. Yeah, it doesn't super help us. And similarly, we've got a 5 and a 6. I'm wondering if there's a better way that I can go about this. 2, 5, and 4 does lock us in more, but not completely. I kind of feel like these 5 and 6s are where I need to focus. I need to figure this out. So 5, 6. So this is the leftmost arrangement of the 6. And then this would be the leftmost arrangement of the 4. The rightmost arrangement of the 4 would be there. Space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we know that this has to be filled in. Yeah. We know that these two have to be filled in. And then similarly for this one, these have to be filled in. I think that this one we've got even less room. The 5 would have to come out to at least here. So this is the left edge of the rightmost alignment of the 5. And if we went with the leftmost arrangement of the 5, it would still have to be filled in. I think this would still have to be filled in too. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this one would have to be filled in for the 6. Am I right about that? I feel a little loosey-goosey about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6, and then conversely 1, 3, 4, 5, 6 has to be filled in, space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm feeling a little less confident about that arrangement. Okay, yeah. No. I'm feeling better about that. Does that help me vertically? I'm sure it does, but... Alright, these aren't long enough. There's not enough space, so we know that this can't be here, because it won't reach. Similarly, we know that that can't be there, because it won't reach. Same story here. So this could be here, maybe. We know that this one has to be filled in order for that to be 4 and 4. Can't really do much of anything with that. These could go either way. This one's tricksy. Alright, this 353 here can probably tell us some stuff. So, leftmost arrangement, 1, 2, 3, space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, space, 1, 2, 3, space. Or, rightmost arrangement, 1, 2, 3, space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, that doesn't actually work. Does that imply that we know that this tells us where the 5 is? I feel like it probably does. I feel like we can infer There's just not an arrangement of this that doesn't have the 5 at least right there. I don't know that I can go further than that. Space, 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe this one. Space, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, space. Space. 1, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think that those are the ones that we can be confident about. Oof. All right. This is basically Sudoku. 2, 5, 4. So 4 space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 space 1, 2. Or 1, 2 space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So kind of the same situation. We can reasonably assume that this has to cover these 1, 2 space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 space 1, 2, 3, 4 maybe. Or so we know that these two actually have to be filled in. There's no way for them not to be. Ooh, and that actually. There's no way for this to not be filled in and this one not to be filled in. I think that means that we can infer that this can't have anything there. And I think that means that we know that there has to be something here in order to fit this 4, 4, 2. Because this has to be one of the 4s. So space 1, 2, or space, space 1, 2. This one is still there either way. So, alright, that's good news. There's still room for the other 3 here, so that doesn't super help us, but making progress. Pretty sure we can say that this has to be filled in right here. Yeah, because there's no way for a 5 and a 3 and another 3 to fit. Alright. I want to get some more rows locked in. This is getting painful. We don't know that yet. We don't know that. Alright, so the 5... Okay, I think we can definitively say... So, 1, 2, 3, like, we know that this can't reach up to here. So that blocks that off. And because that's blocked off, we know that it won't fit here either. That didn't narrow the possibility space down for us a lot, but, you know, it's something. Ooh, this is a 2 right here, so that means we know that that's locked off there. can't quite make any more assumptions about this. Damn. But we can make some assumptions here. Alright, so we know that the 2 has to go here because the 2 can't fit here. Bop, bop. Nice. Don't think that helps us with that, but it does mean that we know that this can't be here. Because of the 3 continuous. Really feels like I should be able to intuit this a little bit better, but okay, actually, hold on. Here, this one. We know it can't be 1, 2, 3, because then you'd be butted up against that. So this can't be one of them, so that means that one of these 2 has to be it. In order to form that 3. Cat is snoring so loudly. All right. Which means this is a 4 and a 4, and we can't fit a second 4 underneath this one. So we know that there's nothing in these spots. So which means that I think that we know that this spot has to be filled in, because this is the lower edge of the highest arrangement, and also the highest edge of the lowest arrangement. Which now means that we can say, all right, that's definitively blocked off. It means that this has to be off, this has to be on in order to fulfill that 2, 2, and 6 contingency, which means that this has to be on in order to fit the 6. But this one can't be, because that won't, there's not enough length. Okay, that's good. That's actually real good. And similarly here, there's not enough room for another 6, so we know that this can't be on. This is a 2 and a 4, so we know that this has to be on here. And these 2 have to be on, which gives us a lower edge. Okay, that's actually really good. That's a lower edge for this, and a lower edge for that. And this is a lower edge for that. Haha. And that's a 1, so we know that this has to be surrounded. And that's a 3, so we know that that has to be closed, which closes this for us. Can't quite figure out more about that. This is a 4 though, so it can't fit in there. And this is a 4, so it can't fit in there. It has to fill this up. Has to fill this up, which gives us a right side for this. There we go. And a right side for this. Beautiful. And this has got a 4 in it, so we know that this has to be off and this has to be on, and it can't reach up to here. This can't reach over to there because there's just not room anymore. 3 and a 5 can't fit a 5 in this space, which means that this 4 has to be over here. Beautiful. And this is a 3, so we have to close this off. And the only way that this is a complete 3 is that, and that closes this off. This is a 5 down here. That won't fit in this one spot, which means that this has to be turned on. This is a 2, so that has to be turned off. It's all coming together. That's a 1. And this is a 1, so this has to be closed off. And this is a 2, so it has to be like that. That's that row closed. This is a 1 down here, so it has to be closed. This is a 2, so it has to be on. There's not room for a 5 here. I'm pretty certain about this part, but give me just a second. Yeah, there's not. The 5 can't reach to that, which closes off that 2. This is a 5, so it has to be filled in. Beautiful. The 3 can't reach down to here on this one. Yeah. This is a 6 and a 2. We've already got the 2, so we know that those are closed off. That 5 has to be there. This has to be filled in here. 1 and the 4, that has to be filled in for that 4. That 1 has to be filled in like this. So for this to be a 5 at the bottom, we have to close that. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, the only way that this column makes sense is if those are filled in. Great. This is a 6, so this has to be filled in, closed. This is a 6, so it has to be closed in. That's a 3 and a 3, so these all have to be painted out. Great. For this to be a 4, this has to be on, this has to be on, and this has to be on. This is a 2, so it has to be closed. This is a 2, that completes that. This has to be on. Beautiful. That has to be closed off. For that to be a 3, those have to be there. This is set to be a 5, so it has to be filled in there. 5 and a 2 and a 4. Let's see. This is set to be a 6, so it has to be closed in like that, which closes off this 2 as a possibility. We do have one filled in already, so we can go ahead and omit that as a possibility. This is a 4 and a 4. So this has to be filled in there. This is a 6 and a 5. So that has to be closed off, which means that this, we know that this 3 is there. 5 and a 6. So that completes that. 4 and a 2 only fit in that one particular way. Excellent. This is a 5, 2, 1, so that has to be closed in there. This is already a 5. This is already a 5. This is a 4, so it has to be filled in there. That makes this a 4. So we don't know that one yet. This is a 6 and a 4, so we know that we can close that in and fill that in, which makes this a 4 complete. This is a 3 and a 4. We know that that's not there. We know that that's a 3. We know that this is a 5. Woo! Oh, that one was tough. I don't know how long we spent on that. I'm sure I'll chapterize this in YouTube later, but that one was tricksy. The lack of continuous lines makes it hard to find a starting point. Oh, at least this one's smaller. And we've got a couple filled lines. Nice. That actually is phenomenal news for us, because that gives us some really solid starting points. Okay, because that's filled in, How tall is this? 10, 12? So that means it could be up to 3 on either side of this 9. I think that tells us that this can't be filled in here because the 7 wouldn't reach. Yeah, there's only 4 that it can go. So we know that that's not there, so we know that this isn't here. We also know that we can't be here or here because the 5 wouldn't reach. This has got a 3 in it, so we know that it's not there. We know that this has to be filled in to make that 2. One, 6, and 1. That doesn't leave a whole lot of room for imagination. Alright, this one's a 2 and a 9, which has to be like this. One of these two has to be a blank in order for this to be a 3 and a 3, which means that this has to be filled in, which means that these have to be filled in, which means that this has to be filled in, which means that this has to be filled in. This one has to be like that. Okay. Which means this has to be blank. There's no way for that to have anything in it. Or that. Can actually eliminate a lot of possibilities with that. Okay, that actually forces the solution to this one to be that. Okay. With these two over there, that means that this has to be like this, which does mean that these have to be filled in like this. Yeah. I actually already knew that because of the previous line. Come on, brain. This is a 1, so it has to be blanked out, and that 3 has to be like that, which does satisfy the 2 requirement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this has to be blanked. This is 7, so this is 6 so far, so we can infer there's nothing here or here. 1, 2. No, and we could actually go a step further. Yeah, we know that it's not there. This is a 2, so we know that this has to be here. Which means that we can deduce that that's there. That also, we can corroborate that with that. This is a 4. So we know that this has to be filled in no matter which way you go. Same way here. This is a 2, so we know that that has to be like that. This is a 3, so we know that that has to be there. Actually, it's a 1 and a 3, so we know that it has to be like that. This is a 2, so we know that it can't be here or here. This is a 1 going vertically, so this has to be blank, and that has to be filled in, which tells us what that 2 was. We already have that 5 filled in, so that means that 4 has to go in there. Have to have 1 here, which fills out this row, which tells us this. That one was way easier. It's a peach. Some sort of fruit. Whew. I can feel my voice starting to give out. I'm gonna try and do like one more. Let's see, this is 10 wide? No, 11 wide. So this is 9 plus 2 is 11, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, blank. 1, blank, 1. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or so we know that this one can't be there. This is 10, so we know that at least that much is filled in. And this blanking, all these ones here. And this has also got another one here, and a 2 there, and a 3 there, and a bunch of 9s. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, this has got a 5 in it, so that's gotta be like that. With a little bit of wiggle room there on either side. This ends with a 1, so we know that that can't be there. One of these ones has to be down here, which means that we know that there has to be one of those there. Which means we can close that off, which means that we can close that off, which means that we know that that's there. Cool. No, all of those have to be there. These all start with 1, so we can block that off. Doesn't super help us with this, but 1 space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 space 1 space 1. Cool. Which means that we now know that where that 8 lives. Alright, that means that that can't be there. That's our 5, so that has to be there. Which means that that has to be there. Has to be there. There's some wiggle room there. All of those because of that 5. These are 2s vertically, so we gotta lock that off. This is a 4, so that gives us that. There's 1s here, so that locks all of that off. Beautiful. This 3 has to be here. That's a 2, so that has to be there, which completes that. So this 1 has to be here, which means that we can block that off. This has to be a 5, which means this has to be here. That 4 has to complete to there. There we go. What are you, a backpack? Cool. Alright, one more. Alright, 3 and 8 feels like a pretty strong start, but 12 is an even stronger start. Yeah, 8. So that's the minimum wiggle room that these 10s have. And we know that that has to be blinked off because that's a 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and 3. And we got an 8 here, so there you go, 8. and a 2, which means this has to be 5. That's a 1. Blank 1, blank 1, 2, 3. No, we don't know this. We know that that's blanked. We know that that's filled in. We know that that's like that. We know that this is a 2, blank. 1, 2, 3. We know that that's like that. There's no way to fit a 2 up here, so we know that this has to be our 2. We know that because it's a 5 has to go to at least there. Continuing down this, we know that those are locked off. This is a 2, so we know that that's going to be like that. And in order to fit the 1 in there, it's got to be like that. In order to get the 2 and the 3 in there, that's got to be like that. We know that this can't have anything in it because the 5 couldn't reach down. This is a 3 and a 6, so that's got to be there. Connect to that. So there we go. This wants a 3 horizontally, so it has to be there. And it needs a 1, so we can block that off, and then we have to put that in there. And that completes our 5. This needs a 4 horizontally, so that has to be like that. This has a 2 vertically. This has a 2 vertically. So a 3 vertically. And a 3 there, and a 2 there, so neither of those can be filled in. This has a 4 on top. This has a 5. This has a 3, so that means that that's definitely not there. There's a 1 there, so that fills that in. One, 1, 1, 2, 1. So this can't be there and must be there. We know that because that blocks that in, which means that this has to be blank. Because we took away that bottom spot, this has to come up, at least one. Same with this. Can't be here, because then we wouldn't fit the 3, 1, 3. This has to be filled in. That's our 1 there. So there we go. This has a 2 on the bottom, so that has to be there. Nothing here or here. This is a 1, so it can't be there or there. So this has to be filled in here and here. This is a 3. That's a 2. There we go. Made a mistake there at the last second, but we reined it back in. What am I looking at? Oh, it's the map icon. Did not grok that. All right, one more. Woof. All right. 15 tall, huh? And 16 wide. All right. We know that that's there. We know that at least this much is there. Same with this one. So this 13 here, we know that it fills in at least all of these. And then same for this 13 here. And then with this 11, we know that it fills in at least to here. Ooh, we got a 13 and a 2, which has to be like that, which actually tells us a lot. Nice. Because 13 and 2 tells us that none of this can be filled in on that column. Similar story for this. Which in turn gives us a lot of confidence about our side-to-side movement here, actually. So that limits it down to only being 14 wide, which means that this has to be filled in to at least there, right? Yeah. This has to be filled into here, I think. Right, this is a 6, which means that it could not possibly fill any of these. Ooh, and this 3 column up here actually can help us figure out a lot more. So we know that this has to be filled in. We know that it can't reach up to here, and it can definitely not reach down to here, which limits our possibility space here for our 13. Our 13 has to be filled into that. Beautiful. Our 10s here, we can fill them in a lot. Similarly with our 7, that has to be filled in, and we've got some 5s down here, or a 5 here, so we know that this has to be blocked in like that. And it can't reach down to here. Pretty sure about that, but I'm a little nervous about it, so I'm gonna hold on to that thought. We know that this has to be our 14 now, which blocks this off, which gives us an edge to define our 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that closes off the rest of that. Nice. We know that this has to be a 2, and a 6, and a 2, which means that we know that this can't be anything. Yeah, which means that this has to be our 6 right there. And this is continuous, so this has to be here, and that closes off that. And the only way for this to be a 6 is like that. This is a 4, so we know that it can't be here or here. And that's our 3 right there. This is an 11, so there's no way that it's not filled in there or here. This is a 14, so that has to be closed, which means that that's a 3. Has to be closed. The 4 has to be filled in there. This is a 13. It's continuous, so it can't be there. Has to be closed in there. And this has to be closed in there. That's our 5. Nice. Whole right side of this is sorted. 7 has to be... Nope. Closed off like that. I can feel myself starting to go cross-eyed. Our 11, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 has to be like that. So that's our 3 right there. Beautiful. And our 2. And this is a 1. Means that our 1 has to be here, and we know that the rest of this is closed. That's our 10. That's a 10 right there. All right. This 6 can only fit in there like that. This has to be filled in. Also, we could have inferred that by just looking at the row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Beautiful. We can corroborate this. 2 and 5. 5 has to fit in there like that. Corroborates that. Beautiful. And that gives us our 1 and our 1. This is a 1, so it has to be closed. And that's a 6, so it has to be closed here. 2 has to be closed. 3 and 3, 3 and 2. We don't know that. This is a 5. So it has to be like that. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Crocodile. Goodness me. Hey, Finzabufka. How's it going? Alright, that is 9 nonograms. In a row. Woof. My brain is kind of turning into mush. So, I kind of think that we're going to call it there. Also, my voice is giving out. So, yeah. Feel pretty good about that. That was a fun little side thing. Speaking aloud, what I'm thinking probably does help me do those better. But also speaking aloud is definitely slower than my brain. So the kind of a trade-off there. That's interesting. But yeah. If y'all are interested in seeing me do more of the nonograms on camera, just let me know. Like I said, I will put the YouTube recording of that as like a separate video on the end of my playlist for Master Key, just because it's not part of the main sequence. But yeah, good times all around. I think we'll call it there before I completely lose my voice, but thanks for hanging out. Hope y'all enjoyed. If anyone watches this as like a guide, maybe don't do it like I do it, but then again, maybe do, because we did get the solutions. We didn't get ourselves stuck. So yeah. Anyhow, that's it from me. Thanks for watching.